What's going on, guys? Another day, another flash sheet. So this is another sheet, part of the set of 12 that I'm working on. And just to do a refresh from the last video, I'm just gonna show the sheets that I've already finished. Got this one. Dragons. That's the Sailor Jerry sheet from the last video that I did. More classics. And then we've got this one that we're working on. Like I said in the last video, if you haven't seen it, go ahead and give that a watch if you don't mind. I'm using fine synthetic watercolor brushes. I used some P.H. Martin's Bombay to lay down this stain. I just created a wash with that. And then I'm using these Daniel Smith fine watercolors, tube watercolors. That is what was recommended to me by Kane Gordon from Smith Street Rod and Gun Club. I know a lot of people like to use the FW. However, I've heard that the light fastness on that is not archival and does not last very long. And it's also acrylic, and I'm a bit of a purist. Acrylic is plastic. I have no interest in using plastic materials. The most plastic I like to use would be these synthetic brushes, and even then I'd like to move to a natural bristle at some point. Just got to get there, monetarily. So right now we're finishing up this eagle. We've already got a old Calcutta, Crazy Sal, whatever you want to call that. Here I'm adding brown to the feathers here. This is actually burnt sienna, just brown. And part of the reason why I start these videos when I'm already like more than halfway done with the sheet is, one, so the video isn't terribly long. Two, most of the time I have to charge my phone. I have a tendency to keep it on low battery, which makes it hard to film. And three, because I'm a gatekeeper. I'm a proponent of gatekeeping. This is about the closest I will get to really giving an insight into what I got going on and how I'm doing it. I don't want you to see the full process. If you'd like to see the full process, then come get a tattoo from me. And I'm more than happy to share some information face to face. But with the current state of tattooing, with the current state of art in general, I'm not a proponent for everyone can be an artist. I think everyone has the capability to express themselves artistically, but no, you have to earn your information when it comes to being a true craftsman and an artist, because everyone who really does this spends years and years learning this. And to just give this information away to someone who says they care and says they want to know how to do this right and doesn't treat it with the respect that it's given, that's a tough thing for us to sort of come to terms with, that you've given this vital information to someone who's not going to treat it with the respect that it deserves. So, I'm only here to kind of show you guys what I'm working on. I'm not here to really show you guys how I'm working on it. And you can get whatever information you can get from just simply watching me, but that's about as far as I'm willing to go with this. So let's see here. Now I'm gonna go ahead and add the brown to the skull, and then we'll add the Payne's Gray as the last color. For this sheet. And like I said in the previous video, I'm winging it here. I don't have any kind of reference with me. Because part of the point of this is to learn to trust myself as an artist, to learn to trust the decisions that I make. And, with that, I'm going to make mistakes, and that's fine. That's something that I think is important to be okay with as an artist. And I think that's what makes it human, is the fact that you may make mistakes. That's part of life. That's part of making art. And also, it feels good because it's a sign that you're operating out of freedom, free agency. You're doing stuff, and you're learning through the experience. That's all I care about, learning through experience. Becoming the best person I can be, becoming the best artist I can be. Yeah. Like I said, I'm going to post these, this set on Instagram and my website and everything else, but I do feel like I'm okay with nobody ever seeing these also. If I were to have just made these and kept them in some kind of portfolio stashed away somewhere, I think I would be fine with that, actually. However, the point of these also is it's not just about me, it's about putting this out there and giving people, options and letting them into my world as an artist. And so, that's part of the responsibility that I have as an artist, is to share what I'm making. But it's not about the feedback or anything. It's just about making it and then putting it out there. I heard somebody say that, I can't remember if it was in this book called Art and Fear, or if somebody told me this, but as an artist, your job is just to make the art. Let the critiquing and interpreting and everything else be for the viewer. That's their job. That's why we have viewers and critiques, or critics. It's their job to take this and turn it into a conversation for the external world. Our job is simply to make art and keep making art, as much art as possible. especially in a world where beauty is becoming stifled, convenience and comforts and commodity are the basis for many people when it comes to making art, because that's kind of what we live in right now. People view art as making a product in a lot of ways. And, well, these are a product in a lot of ways. I mean, I want people to get these tattooed on them, and I would love to be able to pay my bills with that money that people spend on these. However, that is a byproduct. That is not the intention. And like I've said before, if that's ever your intention, I think you should just quit. I think you should just go into a different business where that is the precedent. That is why people get into it. We've conflated art making with every other industry, and it's detrimental to our humanity, for one, and it's detrimental to the quality of art, the depth of art that we make, because we're trying to make a product, we're looking to make a poster, we're trying to make something that sells, something that looks good on Instagram, and that is just so far from what the true benefits of art making really are. You think the original cave painters were painting in caves so that someone will come by and want to scrape off that rock and buy it and hang it in their cave? No, it was a sharing of expression. It was a sharing of ideas, of a sharing of perspectives of the world, sharing of stories. It's art making it's crucial to our humanity as individuals and as a collective body. It's so much more important than being a commodity. And so I know that's a little bit ironic for someone sitting here painting a bunch of designs to sell as tattoos, but the tattoos are the product. These sheets are just me painting and enjoying the process of painting. Okay, I'm gonna go change out this water real quick. Okay, so I've got just the Payne's Gray to add, and that'll be a wrap on this sheet here. one of the reasons why I'm doing such a large set, which I guess for many people this is like an average set of flash, 12 sheets, that's nothing. Crank that out in a day. Well, I'm not used to this caliber of workload. So this is the most sheets I've done in a set. It's taken me a very long time. And that's part of the reason I'm doing this, is because this is a real challenge for me. I've never taken on a project like this. And you know, I did have an apprenticeship. I still work at the shop I had my apprenticeship at, and I did have a mentor, but flash painting was never something that was emphasized or taught during my apprenticeship. I'm self-taught flash painter. And so because of that, I don't feel behind, but I do feel like I have to step it up a little bit more just on my own than some of these other folks might, because you know they had a mentor who emphasized flash painting and have been doing flash sheets all throughout their apprenticeship. So more power to them for sure. But I will say, the hunger of a self-driven individual it's different. And I know there's plenty of others just like me out there. And if you happen to come across this video and you're someone like that, please reach out. Let's be friends. Let's talk tattooing. Let's talk flash. Let's talk techniques. I'm always looking to learn. I'm always looking to figure out how I can be better, because I know that these sheets are just full of mistakes. And that's part of it. That's how you learn. But I can spot some of the mistakes, but I'm not necessarily, I don't see everything that's wrong, you know? So I do have a fellow tattooer that I know, who I'm gonna see if he'd be willing to give me some feedback on these. But yeah, like I said, for the most part, this is just kind of wing it and see what happens type of experiment, I'd say. So I'm just putting in this Payne's Gray pretty sparingly in the eagle head, just to give it a little bit of uniformity with the rabbit. one thing I always try to think about is like, how do I make it all cohesive? You know, how do I make all these individual aspects work together as one piece? Okay. I'm wondering if I should put this Payne's Gray down here, the underside of the hat. Wayne, sorry, that's my dog. No, I think we're just gonna keep it real simple, just like that, not too much. And then we'll go in with a little bit for this shirt collar. And maybe just a little bit down in here. Another thing I like to think about in terms of overall composition is, so I talked about the forms within the design and how to keep all of those in harmony, but also thinking about the sheet as a painting as a whole, and the images and how they fit within each other, kind of like how this hat fits right up in here like that. This kind of follows like that. And then, you know, thinking in terms of colors. So this is just burnt sienna, Payne's Gray, red, yellow. This is olive green, red, burnt sienna. And then this one has all of them. So it's kind of like, you know, the centerpiece brings it all together in terms of color and composition and all that. And look, if there's an artist out there who disagrees with me on that, I would love to talk about it and learn, you know, what I could do differently to make it a stronger overall composition. But the theory behind it remains. So that's another flash sheet for you, and I'll be back with another video soon. Thank you for watching.